Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and very, very welcome to the Shanty Sessions live stream episode number 30. Do let us know if you have any problems with the sound. We're doing a slightly different setup tonight. Hopefully it shouldn't affect your viewing pleasure too much. Already we've got a comment in the shape of Michelle Gallagher. She says, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Michelle. Thank you very much for joining us. I can see there's quite a few other people tuning in as well. Now, don't forget, you can tune in via Facebook on our Facebook pages, which would be the Rogues Shanty Chorus or the Rogue Shanty Boys. You can also join us via YouTube. We're live on YouTube on our YouTube channel as well. A few other comments coming in. I'm going to say hello to straight away. Linda Boyce, happy Tuesday evening, everyone. Good evening, Linda. Thank you for joining us. And Derek Dennett, which is a name I'm not familiar with yet. Derek, so you're very welcome to join us. He says, Bellow from Frodsham in West Cheshire. Well, that sounds like a fantastic place to live, and perhaps you'll fill us in, Derek. I presume you're not just on holiday, and that is actually where you reside. Bellow, back to you, Derek. And another gentleman that's become a firm favourite is Bill Lyman. He says, hello all. Hello, Bill. Nice to see that you're out there with us. Evening all, says Jackie Draper. So good evening to Jackie and Barry. And Ben Southern says, evening, everyone. Good evening, Ben. Now, I'm going to fill a few people in on what it is exactly that we do around these here parts. And one of those things is we are the Rogue Shanty Chorus, and usually we look like this. Now, this photo was taken of our lovely chorus, the Shanty Choir, at the Seagull Theatre, which is where we usually meet for our meetings on a fortnightly basis. And this particular meeting was a show where we performed to a sellout crowd at the Seagull Theatre. Now, just recently, in fact, last Tuesday, we were able to get together once again for the first time since March the 17th. In fact, since March the 3rd, for the first time with our Rogue Shanty Chorus in person. We were unable to meet with the whole chorus because usually there's quite a big crowd of us. But in this particular instance, due to the social distancing measures we put into place so that we could meet again, we were able to meet up with 24 of our lovely chorus. And a splendid time was had by all. Now, if you wanted to come along because you usually would be amongst that crowd in person and you weren't able to do so, the places are open, I believe, currently. So if you'd like to book yourself a slot, then it does have to be booked, I'm afraid, due to track and trace systems. If you'd like to book a slot, please do get on it, and we should be able to see you there. We're going to do our best to give priority to people that haven't had a chance to be there at the most recent session. Anyway, a few more hellos coming in, and I'll feed you some more info later. Hello, says Janet Woods. Hello, everyone, and hello to Janet and to David. Now, Derek Dennett said, sorry, should say hello. No, I like a bellow, so it works fine for me, mate. So stick with bellow if you like. Marion Bouchert, our regular correspondent from British Columbia, Canada, she says, hello all, great to be here for the 30th show. Well, thank you very much, Marion. And this is, as I said, our 30th live stream episode. We were broadcasting live from our Shanty session last week, but we're going to call that a different kind of thing. That was virtually backstage, so that was episode number 1 of that. Sally Hardman was there singing out very well, and she says, howdy everyone, hope all are well. You too, Sally and John. Maggie Clark says, evening one and all, and good evening, Maggie. Now, Carly Franklin, she's raising the elephant in the room by saying, evening, Paul and Stephen and everyone from Carly and Kathy. Hello, Kathy, and hello, Carly. So I'm not saying Stephen's an elephant, but he's also not in the room right now. So he'll be with us shortly. So don't you worry about that. You won't have to part with me alone for too much longer. But in the meantime, shall I get on with the song? Because you've been waiting patiently, I think, for quite for nearly 5 minutes almost now. So I'm going to launch into a song very shortly. In the meantime, something that's very, very important, is Suffolk words and phrases. So this is from our wonderful book by Edward Moore. This was printed in 1823, and it goes quite a way back. Beyond there, even the words go beyond the printing of this book. But Edward Moore was somebody very interested in words and language, especially of his native Suffolk, and he wanted to try and preserve in print some of those fabulous words and phrases. So I wonder what word we have today. Well, wonder no more, because it's this: threadagall. Threadagall. Or it could be threadagal. Depends how you say it, really. And this is a word that hasn't been used since sometime before I was born. So forgive me, I haven't heard it before. But if you've heard it, or if you've got an inkling of what that might mean, threadagall, why don't you pop it in a comment to us and let us know? So it's our regular section called "How You Heard It, Boy," which is a Suffolk word or phrase. And this week, threadagal, threadagal is the word in question. Don't cheat. Don't be looking on Google, because after all, there are no real prizes. It's just for the acclaim you get from the local shanty community. So anyway, like I said, I promised you a song, and we're going to go for it. It is, of course, number 15, John Carter, The Smuggler. If you're one of our regular rogues and you sing along at home with the folder that you've amassed of our lyrics, you should find this as number 15. It's John Carter, The Smuggler. I'm going to sing it, and I'm going to try and display the lyrics on screen, and then I'll give you a little bit of chat about what it's all entailing. Of Prussia Cove, where I was born, a song I'll here begin. Me father is a smuggler bold, a well-to-do, not him. To land a cargo of the goods he never thought to sin, and 'tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. 'Tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. John Carter is me father's name, the king of all his kin. He is an honest man and keeps his word through thick and thin. For mounted men and cutlass guard he doesn't care a pin, and 'tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. 'Tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. Our lugger is the Rose and Crown we brought to rack and ruin. A double burden to his she, as snug as any bin. To see the cake she brings from France would make a donkey grin, and 'tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. 'Tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. No mark of kegs nor sinking stone is ever seen within. Across the channel, rough or smooth, so sweetly she does spin. What joy, me boys, to land the goods, nor lose a kilderkin. And 'tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. 'Tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. We friend galore, different, and every farmer near or far a mate there at the inn. And parsons never do despise a case of smuggler's gin, and 'tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. 'Tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. For speed from all preventing eyes and fast and to Lewin, they'd saw a poor man's boat in half and joy to do him in. Why should they take the bread away we work so hard to win? And 'tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. 'Tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. And 'tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. 'Tis my delight on a moonless night to run the cargo in. So that's John Carter, the Smuggler. You may have noticed some slight discrepancies for the normal lyrics. If you're one of our regular rogues, apologies for that. We've had to do everything a little bit Heath Robinson tonight, but I think we're getting there. Hopefully you can hear it all right, and I hope you're all singing along at home. Please do let me know if you're singing along at home, because that means the world to us. I'm going to just mention what we do. Now, the Rogue Shanty Chorus is a group of people that meet every other Tuesday night at the Seagull Theatre, as I mentioned before, to celebrate the cultural musical heritage of the East Coast of the UK. Now, the Seagull Theatre is in Lowestoft, which is the most easterly town, the most easterly part of the whole of the UK, for those that don't know it. So on the little bum shape of Great Britain, we are right at the very eastern edge of it. Lowestoft, it once had a very, very broad, fine fishing industry. Now the community is still there, but the industry is obviously in much decline for some years now. But the songs and the heritage, the culture that was once so integral to that industry, we celebrate that with our road shanty chorus, and we sing those songs that were once sung loudly on this part of the country. And we also diversify a little bit and sing songs from around the country and indeed around the world. That last one was a song native to Cornwall, and I'm just going to give you some of the facts and figures about it because it's a fascinating tale. Now, the Carters of Prussia Cove, they were a family of Cornish smugglers, and they were active in the late 18th century, operating out of Prussia Cove in Cornwall. There they had a hideout in a remote cliff next to the ocean. John Carter, who was born 1738 and mysteriously disappeared, presumed dead, in 1807, was nicknamed the King of Prussia in reference to his smuggling operations with some of his brothers, Harry Carter and Charles Carter. John obtained the nickname because he was said to closely resemble Frederick the Great, the King of Prussia, and was also said to admire him greatly. This gave the name to the cove, which is located east of Penzance. By all accounts, despite his profession, John Carter was a devout Methodist and was noted for his honest dealing as a smuggler. But who could say that kind of profession was particularly an honest dealing of any kind? Not me, couldn't say that at all. Anyway, who else has been in touch to say hello? First up, Monica Manning. She says, hello, everyone. Hello, Monica. And Janice Marjoram, who we saw last Tuesday at the Virtually Backstage event. Hello, each and all. And she's got some little anchor motifs there. Hello, Janice. Lovely to know you're there. Marion Bouchert gave me 3 rounds of applause, which I guess means you can hear me okay. So thank you, Marion, for that. Too kind. Now, Carly Franklin says, could it mean a girl who mends the fishing nets? Now, that's from Kathy, she says. And I'm going to go back to what she's referencing here. It is our word of the week, Suffolk word or phrase that we call, hey, you heard it, boy. This week, it's threadagal or threadagal. Depends how you want to say it. But if you do say it, why don't you say what you think it means as well? Threadagal, threadagal. So, yeah, have a little think. In the meantime, I'm going to say hello and thank you to our funders. You can see their logo here. The People's Health Trust have been funding this project. As I said, it's a cultural musical heritage project, and they've been funding it for the last year, and including through this lockdown and epidemic social distancing period, they've continued the funding to make it possible that we can still connect and engage with our community, but doing it online through these live stream sessions. And very grateful we are to us for funding the Active Communities program. This has enabled us to work with people from all ages, really, as young as 2 years old and to all the way up to 90 years young. Different kinds of people and different kinds of experience musically, from those that are just setting out with their love of music, and also to those that are quite accomplished musicians, and very grateful for every one of them we are. If you're one of them, perhaps you are one of our regular rogues, and you are somebody who has been with us for a long, all the way really, such as Sally Hardman, who says, howdy everyone. She's one of our pilots, in fact, one of our committee, and she's been with us for a long time. And perhaps you're somebody that's joined us along the way whilst we've been doing these live stream sessions, such as Marion Bouchert. She joins us from Canada, as I mentioned. Or perhaps you're somebody that's joining us for the first time tonight. I don't believe I've seen Marie Gallagher's name up there before, but it could be that she's been tuning in but been kept stum all this time, and this is the first time she said hello. So hello everyone, and I'm going to say hello back to Marie Gallagher, and so is Michelle Gallagher, her daughter. She says hi, Mum. So that's what we're doing here today, and throughout these lockdown live stream sessions is where we're just trying to continue that feeling of community and good feeling, and engage with the people that love to hear a shanty and love to sing it. So please do sing along tonight, and please do able to click share. If you could click share for us, and I don't just mean this lady right here, who likes to turn back time and believe in love and all those kind of things. But if you could click share, and by that I mean in your put the sessions into your feed, your Facebook feed, or share it on the YouTube channel to those people that perhaps aren't aware of us or haven't come across us before, but may enjoy a good shanty or two. Anyway, in the meantime, if you don't mind, I'm going to sing you another song. Now, this one isn't, you'll have to forgive me, this one isn't a shanty, and it also isn't in our repertoire. So our lovely chorus won't have sung this with us before, although I suspect a lot of you will know it quite well. I know the Roger Whittaker version from 1968, and I'm a big fan of the Corries. Now, the Corries gave us our version of Kishmore's Galley, of course, and also, like I said, they did a great version of this song, which is called the Skyboat Song. It's a very old song, dating back to the late 19th century. But like I said, it's not a shanty, so you'll have to forgive me with that. I'm going to give you a little bit about its origin. Now, it's all about the journey of Prince Charles Edward Stuart, or as we know him colloquially, Bonnie Prince Charlie. It's all about the journey he made from Banbecula, which is in the Outer Hebrides, to the Isle of Skye as he evaded capture by government troops after his defeat at the Battle of Culloden in 1746. So, as I said, just over a century later, this song was composed. Sir Harold Bolton, the second Baronet, composed the lyrics to an air that was collected by Anne Campbell MacLeod in the 1870s. Now, alternative lyrics to this tune were written by Robert Louis Stevenson, probably around 1885. After hearing the Jacobite airs sung by a visitor, he judged the words of the song to be unworthy, and so made a new set of verses more in harmony with the plaintive tune. Well, that smacks of ego, if you ask me, but far be it from me to suggest Robert Louis Stevenson didn't deserve the ego to do that. Now, if you don't mind, that's the version I'd like to sing you. Robert Louis Stevenson's poetic lyrics to that same tune. And it goes like this. Sing me a song of a lad that is gone. Say, could that lad be I? Merry of soul, he sailed on a day over the sea to Skye. Mull was astern, rum on the port, egg on the starboard bow. Glory of youth glowed in his soul, where is that glory now? Sing me a song of a lad that is gone, say, could that lad be I? Merry of soul, he sailed on a day over the sea to Skye. Give me again all that was there, give me the sun that shone. Give me the eyes, give me the soul, give me the lad that's gone. Sing me a song of a lad that is gone, say, could that lad be I? Merry of soul, he sailed on a day over the sea to Skye. Billow and breeze, islands and seas, mountains of rain and sun. All that was good, all that was fair, all that was me is gone. Speed, bonny boat, like a bird on the wing, onward the sailors cry. Carry the lad that's born to be king, over the sea to sky. Carry the lad that's born to be king, over the sea to sky. And that is the Skyboat song. Hopefully you
very
enjoyed it.
lovely it was too.
Was it lovely, Bowie?
That was lovely, Bar.
Now, Stephen won't have heard me sing that for about 28 years.
And the rest.
And the rest, yeah. And of course, I was singing the alternative lyrics. Did you get yourself a drink, Bear?
I did. In fact, look, I have a clay mug.
You have head. Yeah, okay. So we've got some more hellos, which I'm going to mention. Now, Janice Marjoram asks if there's any relation to the Oasis Manchester Gallaghers. Now, she's saying so in reference to not just Michelle Gallagher, but Marie Gallagher. Now, I'm going to leave Michelle to answer that one in question when she sees you next, Janice, because that would be telling. Anyway, Pat Briggs, lovely Pat Briggs, says, nice to be with you this evening. Nice to have you with us, Pat. You couldn't join us last week, but you can join us online. And I can't remember if you were joining us online last week during our virtually backstage broadcast. If you weren't, we will be doing the same this coming Tuesday next week, when we hope to meet once again with the Rogue Shanty Chorus. So anybody that's a usual member, we don't have any normal members, but anyone that's a usual member of our chorus, regular rogues, do get into the booking section and book your place. We'll do our very best to make sure that we are able to get people there that weren't able to be there last time.
Yeah.
Now, one person who's joining us from far away, he's not one of our regular rogues, but he's joined us along the way of this live stream episode, is Jerzy Brzezinski. And he says, hello, everybody. Hello, Jerzy. Good to know you're out there. He's got a great knowledge of all things nautical. Sandra Warner. Hi, Sandra. Hi, everyone. Just turned up. You just turned it on. I hope I haven't missed too much. You've only missed the ball. Sandra. Another person who joins us from far away, this time from Poland, is Kasia Marcinkowska. Hi, people. I'm late, but I'm here. You're here, Kasia. Nice to have you.
Kasia. Yeah, thanks for joining us at all.
In the meantime, we should say that when you finish watching these live, if you miss any of the episodes or you miss part of the episode and you're wondering what on earth are they talking about, after these are broadcast live, you can pop back and have a look at them, because they will be stored. All 30 episodes are stored online on our Facebook page, the Rogue Shanty Chorus. Most of them even are stored on our YouTube channel. And to top that off, our Lowestoft history sessions are also stored, because once they've gone out live, they're all kept for your viewing delectations. Most recently, we had... what was it we had? Aspects of Lowestoft History by the wonderful Ivan Bunn. He'll be here this Monday coming, with a second part to Aspects of Lowestoft's History. So if you really enjoyed it, you will love part 2. And if you didn't get to watch it, pop back after this episode, this live stream episode, and have a look for yourself on our Facebook page. I'm going to whip through some of these comments just quickly, Stephen. Michelle Gallagher, love this song, haven't heard it in years. Thank you very much. Julie Taylor says, well sung. Thank you, Julie. And Jackie Draper says, that was lovely. Thank you very much. Sally says, does anyone else watch the auto-generated captions? Interesting interpretation of the words. It probably says more about my accent. Sandra Warner, thank you. She says, lovely. But she's also got some strange words, comes up at times. Charlie says, hi.
Talking about the auto-generated captions, or whether she's talking about something else.
Who knows? I think, well, Sandra knows, obviously. Charlie says, hi, guys. Sally says, not normal, rude. And then she pulls a very not normal face. And Claire Garrett, hello, Claire. She says, hi, fellas. Hope you're well. Well as can be, I guess. Hope you're well too, Claire. Carly Franklin says hello to Charlie. Anyway, Stephen, I can feel you itching with anticipation to do something.
I am itching. Yeah, I've been itching. So, I just want to mirror some of those comments. Actually, that was lovely. I left him to grab a cuppa as I saw he was about to start singing, and I came back to the lovely airs of the air. Anyway, look, I'm going to sing something that's very different now, and this is a song called "Blow Ye Winds." Blow Ye Winds. If you're a regular member and you have the lyric sheets, you'll find it around about number 52, somewhere between 51 and 53, and this is actually a whaling song, and as whaling songs go, and we always hammer this point home, as whaling songs go, generally they're a morbid collection of lyrics, usually in a minor key, and this is very accessible. It seems very jolly. Definitely, the version that we that we kind of use is, I guess, most closely resembles the Kingston Trio. Now and again, we do a song, and one of our members, David Wood, says, "Oh, that sounds a bit Kingston Trio," and we love it when he says that, because it means that either he's picking up on our love of them, or we're just wholesale copying them in what we do. Either way, it's fine. In the index, it's the number is 2012. That's the Roud Folk Index, or in the ballad index, it's LXU044. And the description of this song is that the call is going out for whalemen in New England, and the song warns of the conditions that the potential recruits are going to face: boarding masters, hard times at sea, dangers of taking the whale, etc., etc. And although the lyrics we've got are based certainly on the call going out, as I said, to the whalemen in New England, there is an English version. We're using the mostly the American lyrics, but there's an England version which is available to view in the Oxford Book of Sea Songs. I've got a version just over there. I might grab it to show you when Paul's doing a song, but very different lyrics, and somehow gives a very different feel to the song. But anyway, this one was collected from the Journal of Elizabeth Swift in 1859, so it at least predates that. And let me pull up the lyrics as I somehow try to. Oh, I didn't even prepare this. My goodness, what's going on? Give me a second, folks, because I need to do a very special thing to make sure I can share the lyrics. Very, very technical, extremely technical. Don't let anyone ever tell you that men can't multitask, because I can. Look, I'm filling. No, that's wrong. That's better.
In the meantime,
there we go. Yeah.
Are you ready?
No,
he's not ready. So in the meantime, while he's getting ready, I'm going to take you all the way back to our Suffolk word or phrase, which is thread-a-gall. How you heard it, boy? How you heard this Suffolk word or phrase? Can you let us know what you think it might be? The word is thread-a-gall, thread-a-gal, thread-a-gall, and we'd love to know what you think it might refer to in terms of Suffolk. So perhaps you've heard it before, perhaps you're just piecing the dots together and wondering what it means. But basically, tell us now. Tell us now in those comments. And while you're at it, please click share.
He's looking for share now, isn't he?
No.
Have you? No, you're not. Okay, fair enough. Oh, he's left me to it. I finally sorted out my wording. So anyway, you can sing along if you don't have the lyrics at home. Blow your winds. Goes like this. Is advertised in Boston, New York, and Buffalo. 100 hardy sailors are wailing for to go, singing, blow your winds a morning, blow your winds, I-oh, haul away your running gear and blow, boys, blow. They tell you of the clipper ships are running in and out. They say you'll take 500 whales before you're 6 months out, singing, blow your winds a morning, blow your winds, I-oh, haul away your running gear and blow, boys, blow. The skipper's on the afterdeck, they're squinting at the sails, when up above the lookout spots a mighty school of whales. He sings, blow your winds a morning, blow your winds, I-oh, haul away your running gear and blow, boys, blow. Then lower down the boats, my boys, and after him we'll travel. But if you get too near his tail, he'll kick you to the devil, singing, blow your winds a morning, blow your winds, I-oh, haul away your running gear and blow, boys, blow. And now that he is ours, my boys will bring him alongside and over with our blubber hooks and rob him of his hide, singing, blow your winds a morning, blow your winds I-oh. Haul away your running gear and blow, boys, blow. When we get home, our ship made fast, and we get through our sailing, brimming glass around we'll pass and hang this blubber whale and sing and blow your winds a morning, blow your winds I-oh. Haul away your running gear and blow, boys, blow, blow, boys, blow, blow, boys, blow. Okay, I thwacked my guitar so hard I knocked it out of tune, so I'm going to sort that before I next do you a guitar song.
A guitar?
Guitar, yes.
Now,
Anyway,
I'm going to go straight into this because that was a fabulous rendition of Blow You Winds.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much, mate. Now, Bill Lyman, who's a bit of a sailing expert from what we've encountered so far, he says, does it mean sailing between squalls? Sorry. So a squally wind would be one without much direction, as far as I understand it. Sort of blows you a boat a little bit. So it means threading, to thread between squalls. A bit like sort of tacking, I guess, Bill. But like you said, more squally. So that's the word, thread a gall. What does it mean? Bill thinks he knows. Does anybody else? Marion Bouchette, she gives 3 rounds of applause to Blow You Winds, even though he did thwack his guitar. Carly Franklin gives 3. Also,
I thwacked it good.
You gave it a good old thwacking.
Big.
Now, as I mentioned, if you're interested in Lowestoft history, Ivan will be back here this coming Monday with the second part of Aspects of Lowestoft's history. Now, in recent weeks, he's been looking at different parts of Lowestoft and sort of surrounding parishes like Alton and Colville, Pakefield, Kessingland, Kirkley, those different kind of areas that help up to make a greater Lowestoft area. But this last episode and the one that's coming up this Monday are looking at the broader area of Lowestoft in general and the aspects of its history.
Yeah, well, so I think I'm pushing in there, aren't I, if I was to do another song, so I won't. I beg your pardon.
That's right, you're welcome to, if you're ready. I've done 2, so
yeah, well, I tell you what, then I will in that case.
Go on then.
Find it on here so I can share the list. But this is a wonderful song called, the correct title is Rattle the Winches. We've put it in our repertoire as Rattle Them Winches, and other groups perform it under the title of Rattling Winches, and it's fairly contemporary. It's written by a guy called Ken Stevens, who I believe is still around. He certainly was. We shared the stage with him at Harwich International Shanty Festival a couple of years back when he was performing, and we thanked him for writing such a brilliant song. But it's generally considered to be traditional because it's such an authentic sounding shanty, and a lot of people introduce it thus, but it's not quite. I think it was written in the 80s or late 70s. Anyway, Rattle the Winches, Rattle Them Winches, and here it is. We're making money with this sound, rattle them winches, oh. Soon we'll all be homeward bound, rattle them winches, oh. Rattle the can and stamp and go, rattle them winches, oh. Rattle the can and stamp and go, rattle them winches, oh. In the hold this gear must go, rattle them winches, oh. For Mr. Maid, he's told me so, rattle them winches, oh. Rattle the can and stamp and go, rattle them winches, oh. Rattle the can and stamp and go, rattle them winches, oh. Eric was a shanty man, rattle them winches, oh. He was always on the old rantan, rattle them winches, oh. Rattle the can and stamp and go, rattle them winches, oh. Rattle the can and stamp and go, rattle them winches, oh. When he was young and in his prime, rattle them winches, oh. He had them young girls 2 at a time, rattle them winches, oh. Rattle the can and stamp and go, rattle them winches, oh. rattle the can and stamp and go, rattle them winches, oh. But now he's getting old and grey, rattle them winches, oh. Them girls all look the other way, rattle them winches, oh. Rattle the can and stamp and go, rattle them winches, oh. Rattle the can and stamp and go, rattle them winches, oh. He's got a girl in Felixstowe, rattle them winches, oh. These days she's let herself go, rattle them winches, oh. Rattle the can and stamp and go, rattle them winches, oh. Rattle the can and stamp and go, rattle them winches, oh. We'll all have a drink in the Dog and Duck, rattle them winches, oh. With the girls in there we'll try our luck, rattle them winches, oh. Rattle the can and stamp and go, rattle them winches, oh. Rattle the can and stamp and go, rattle them winches, oh. One more rattle and then belay, rattle them winches, oh. We've rattled this gear enough today, rattle them winches, oh. Rattle the can and stamp and go, rattle them winches, oh. Rattle the can and stamp and go, rattle them winches, oh. Rattle the can and stamp and go, rattle them winches, oh. Rattle the can and stamp and go, rattle them winches, oh. The brilliant Rattle the Winches, number one in our repertoire, in fact, which means I guess it was the first song that we ever sung as a group many, many years ago. And we thank Ken Stevens for his wonderful work on that song.
Very nicely done indeed. Speaking of
Did you want to read out all the wonderful comments about that now?
I will do when they appear, and I'm sure they'll appear very, very soon. What I will say is Michelle Gallagher, since she's put it in the public forum, I'm going to read it out. She says, in response to Janice's question about being related to the Gallaghers from Oasis, the answer is yes. My granddad was cousin to Noel and Liam's dad. So there you have it. You heard it here first. Wow. It's an exclusive scoop on the Shanty Sessions live stream episode 30. You had to wait all of these sessions for number 30 to come along before you found out that one of our regular rogues is related by granddad to the Gallaghers of Oasis fame.
And but Michelle is going to be besieged now by members of our chorus wanting to know more. And I guess that might be a drag, Michelle, but you just got to roll with it.
Yeah. What I would say is I know which Gallagher I'd rather have amongst our singers, and that is Michelle. Now, here you go, Stephen. This is what you're waiting for. 3 rounds of applause from Claire.
Yeah.
3 rounds of applause from Sally.
Okay.
And Pat Briggs says, oh, that takes me back to our early meets at Kessingland Church. That's quite right, Pat. We did meet at Kessingland Church for quite a few sessions before.
In fact, we launched at Kessingland Church, didn't we?
We did, yeah. Mm-hmm. And a wonderful place it is. And every now and again, before this coronavirus came along, we would return to the Kessingland Church when the Seagull Theatre was otherwise indisposed.
Yeah.
Sandra Warner says that was great. Loved singing it last week. Now, Sandra is referring to what we've been calling on here as Virtually Backstage episode number 1. We're differentiating it because that was the first time since March the 3rd we were able to meet with the fantastic Rogue Shanty Chorus in person. And we hope to do so again this coming Tuesday, which will be Virtually Backstage episode number 2. All being well, we should out with our regular rogues. For those that have booked a space, and they must be booked because of our efforts in track and trace systems. But if you'd like to be there and you're one of our regular rogues, come along. But book your space first, and you will be featured on episode number 2 of our Virtually Backstage. Now, 3 more rounds of applause from Carol Fisher, who was there in person, and lovely to see her it was too.
Yeah. Okay, so just wait for the 4, and then we'll feature that comment on the screen. I'm going to bring this book up on screen. Haven't actually referenced this for a long while now. A wonderful, wonderful book called A Suffolk Calendar by Alan Jobson. Great author. We've got a few of his books actually in the collection, all about traditional aspects of East Anglia, and we love them. But we shared, the reason I mention this is because we shared a reference of his, a traditional East Anglian reference on the page, and a couple of people messaged us saying, "Oh, where did you know that?" And what we actually shared was the fact that on Saturday, I believe it was Saturday, whenever we shared it, maybe Friday or Thursday, but it was St. Luke's Day or St. Luke's Eve, and the Suffolk custom or belief, the traditional belief, was that if you went to bed on St. Luke's Day or St. Luke's Eve with a sprig of rosemary and a crooked sixpence under your pillow, you will have a lover for the rest of the year. And St. Luke's Day actually preceded St. Luke's Little Summer or St. Luke's Summer, which was often at least a few days, up to 10 days or 2 weeks of fine and dry weather. And we got it from this. We got it from this here, a Suffolk calendar.
Stephen,
yeah,
I need to ask. So, going to bed with the crooked sixpence and sprig of rosemary, does that mean you said you'd have a lover for the year? Does it mean the same lover for the whole year?
It doesn't. I don't think he differentiates. He doesn't say.
Doesn't specify, no. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so he says here on Saint. There's a small traditional verse which accompanies on St. Luke's Day the oxen may play, that is only on St. Luke's Day. When on't I play and on't I sing, I makes the woods and valleys ring, and folks do sigh, though you may smile, to me be heard almost a mile. I do apologise for my traditional Suffolk sounding accent. I do come from Suffolk, I just can't do one somehow. Anyway, never mind. But that is from the book. I guess there might be copies in Suffolk libraries of this, or certainly in the reference libraries when they open, if they're not already. But worth checking out. There's many customs and beliefs for a lot of the days throughout the year. So yeah.
Stephen, just hold the cover up to the camera again one more time.
Of course.
Thank you.
A Suffolk calendar by Alan
Johnson. Now that sounds to me rather similar to Orlando Whistlecraft's almanac.
Yeah, well, very kind of similar, apart from the fact that old Orlando, who was a real guy, by the way, was mostly just interested in the weather, and spectacularly so. I guess you better talk a bit about him now, hadn't you?
Well, I should just say that Orlando Whistlecraft, as Stephen says, was a genuine man, a real guy from this part of the world. And Stephen and I teamed up with Lynn and John Ward, the fabulous singer-songwriters from Lowestoft, from Alton, in fact. And we wrote a song about Orlando Whistlecraft, and it's available to hear, isn't it? We recorded it.
With a bit of warning, I can probably play it on our credits at the very end.
Okay, here's your warning.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Sandra Warner says, I like Bill Lyman's idea about the word, that sounds good. Now, the word in question is threadagall. I'm going to bring it up onto the screen. It's our Suffolk word or phrase for this week, our section called, How You Heard It, Boy? Threadagall, threadagal. Now, Bill Lyman, he fancied that it could well be in reference to how you would navigate around a squally wind. Here he says, sailing between squalls, threading. He's put. So if you've got any other or better guesses than that, why don't you let us know? Pop it in the comments box and tell us exactly what you think that word might mean. If you have any comments at all, again, pop them in there. And if you wouldn't mind, why don't you consider clicking share for us? If you can click share and put her into the into your feed to let other people know what you've been enjoying, if you've been enjoying it, and it means that we can reach out to a few more people along the way. So thank you very much if you've done that for us in the past, or you're about to do it in the future.
I'm back.
Okay, I might as well have a venture into a little sing-song, I think. All I need to do is remember what it was that we rehearsed at length earlier today. That song was going to be. It was Yarmouth Town. Now,
oh yes,
Yarmouth.
Lyrics.
Yeah, do you mind? Yarmouth Town is for anybody that's not familiar with this stretch of coast. Yarmouth, or Great Yarmouth, is a town slightly bigger than Lowestoft, about 9 miles north of Lowestoft, and it's always been a rival to Lowestoft in terms of its seaport and its young men are fighting over local women. But yeah, they had massive catches and huge fishing fleet in the harbour at Yarmouth. But Yarmouth Town is a really well-known popular folk song about that very place indeed. The Rogues have been singing it not that long, probably about a year now, I would say, Stephen, as part of our regular repertoire, and it is number
43.
That's what I was going to say, but luckily Stephen jumped in there.
It keeps doing this thing. I don't know what's going on here.
Does it keep doing that thing?
Doing this thing. It's rather annoying.
Should I go to a different song?
No, I think it doesn't matter what song it is. It keeps doing the thing. But I'm going to start it again. See if
So as I said, if you've got a folder at home, a catalogue of our repertoire, this is number 43. Please sing along. If you don't have that, you can sing along anyway. We really hope you will. Even if you only want to sing along with the chorus that you will see is indented, the little red marks on your lyrics on the screen, that means repeat. Go back to that first red mark until you get to the second red mark. We'll put the verses in between, and please put the chorus after every verse. In Yarmouth Town there lived a man, he kept a tavern by the sand. This landlord had a daughter fair, a plump little thing with a golden hair. Oh, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Now to this tavern come a sailor man, he asked the daughter for her hand. Why should I marry you, she said, I get all I want without being wed. Oh, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Oh, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? But she says, if you want with me to linger, I'll tie a bit of string all around my finger. As you pass by, just pull on the string, and I'll come down and I'll let you in. Oh, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Oh, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? At closing time, the sailor man, he went to the tavern by the sand, and then he went and he pulled on the string, and she come down and she let him in. Oh, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Oh, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Well, he's never seen such a sight before, 'cause a string around the finger was all she wore. And then he went and he pulled the old string, and she pulled the blanket and let Jack in. Oh, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Oh, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? So the sailor stayed the whole night through, and early in the morning went back to his crew, and he told them all about that maiden fair, the plump little thing with the golden hair. Oh, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Oh, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? And the story that soon got around, the very next night in Yarmouth Town, there was 15 sailors pulling on a string. She come down and she let them all in. Won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Oh, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? So all young men, whatever to Yarmouth do, go see a plump little girl with her hair hung low. Well, all you gotta do is pull the old string, and she'll come down and she'll let you all in. Oh, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Oh, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Oh, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town?
Very nice. Lovely.
Top.
Okay. Yeah, well, no comments yet, but I certainly enjoyed that. Michelle, there you go. I'm already in Yarmouth Town. Love singing this song. Yeah. Do you know what? I mean, I think whether we've done it as a duo, you and me, or as a trio with Andy as well, or our group, the Road Shanty Boys, or the Road Shanty Chorus. It's so infectious, this song. Very, very enjoyable. And of course, we always like to poke a little bit of fun at Yarmouth.
Yes, we do. Yeah, great version by Seth Lakeman as well. I think haven't heard from him for a little while, but a fabulous artist, Seth Lakeman.
Well, I'm going to do you a song now, and this is not in our repertoire.
Go on.
Not in our repertoire, but I'm going to do it nevertheless. I just can't bring up lyrics, or I won't bring up lyrics for you. And anyway, I'm going to do the introductions afterwards. Paul knows what that means. And this is song, The Handsome Cabin Boy. I'll give you a little spoiler. He's not a boy. Yeah, Paul's got it now. It's of a pretty female, as you may understand. Her mind being bent for rambling into some foreign land. She dressed herself in sailor's clothes, or so it does appear. And she hired with a captain, serve him for a year. The captain's wife, she being on board, she seemed in great joy. Think her husband had engaged such a handsome cabin boy. And now and then she slipped him a kiss, and she would have liked to toy. But the captain found out the secret of the handsome cabin boy. Her cheeks, they were like roses, and her chair and all a curl. The sailors often smiled and said he looks just like a girl. But eating of the captain's biscuit, her color did destroy, and the waist did swell of pretty Nell, the handsome cabin boy. It was in the Bay of Biscay our gallant ship did plow. One night among the sailors was a fearful flurry and row. They tumbled from their hammocks, for their sleep it did destroy. And they swore about the groaning of the handsome cabin boy. Oh, doctor dear, oh, doctor, the cabin boy did cry. My time has come, I am undone, and I shall surely die. The doctor came a-running and smiling at the fun. To think a sailor lad should have a daughter or a son. The sailors, when they saw the joke, they all did stand and swear. The child belonged to none of them, they solemnly did swear. And the captain's wife, she says to him, my dear, I wish you joy. For it's either you or I betrayed the handsome cabin boy. So each man took his drop of rum, and he drunk success to trade. And likewise to the cabin boy was neither man nor maid. It's hoping wars don't rise again, our sailors to destroy. And he's hoping for a jolly lot more like the cabin boy, like the handsome cabin boy, like the lovely cabin boy, beautiful cabin boy. So the handsome cabin boy, also known as the cabin boy, and the reason I kind of came to that song, apart from being obviously a maritime themed song, not a shanty, clearly not a sea shanty, there's no refrain on it, and it's much more of a four-bit or a tale. But the reason I came to it, apart from it being a great song, is because of this wonderful, wonderful book. I know we feature books a lot, but we do like to, we certainly like to say where we get our inspiration. A lot of it is from talking to people, going to festivals, singing with people, learning new songs, learning new traditions from different countries. But a lot of the time we get them out of books, and this is actually a very rare book in that it's about the the singing traditions of East Suffolk, which is our neck of the woods. In particular, songs that were sung at the Blacksall Ship and in Snape and in Leiston, towns not too far away at all from Lowestoft. But this is, and this was a book that documented many of those songs before the big concern being that they would be lost forever. The Fellowship of Song by Jeanette Dunn, out of print, but you may be fortunate enough to get a copy. And in that book, Jeanette talks types at length about a wonderful guy called Bob Hart. Bob Hart was born in the late 19th century at Southerton, very close to us. It's a village near Halesworth, and he soon moved coastward towards to Raden, which is near Southwold. But he came from a farming family, and so he went into farming himself. But towards the end of his life, and we'll talk a little bit about his kind of route into singing and how he became very popular and how he learned a lot of his songs as well. But towards the end of his life, he certainly was a go-to for many not just sea shanties, but folk songs more generally, and rural customs and traditions. And so Bob, most of the workers in the area, they were obliged to leave school at a very early age to kind of help or supplement the family's income. And even whilst at school, Bob Hart was encouraged to do numerous jobs. He was a berry and acorn gatherer, medicine fetcher, a stone picker, a weeder. And as a result, his attendance at school was rather irregular. And so he left at the age of 14. Because his father agreed with him, he didn't consider it worthwhile to finish school, and so Bob went to work on a farm near his native Southerton. And reading from the book now, Bob says he had a disagreement with his boss and ran away to sea. He says, they used to be very strict, farmers in those days. I met my father's boss. He was on horseback, and I didn't take a lot of notice of him. He went to my father and he said, I met your boy this morning, and he didn't make his obedience to me. He said, see it don't occur again. Supposed to touch your hat, you see, yes. So I guess this is Bob talking now. But Bob, as I mentioned, had a disagreement with his boss, and he ran away to sea. He says, I was in the right, and he knew it. I wasn't very old, I suppose, but the boss was sort of interfering. He came up to me that day and said I'd left the gates open. I'd got a load of maize, and I can picture it now, this here corn with the big heads. They give them to the cows. Well, I went through and I shut all the gates behind me, but he came out and said that I hadn't. I'd let the cows out. So what happened, I don't know. But my father said, well, the boy shut the gates. Just as he said, I saw him come across on the fields to the meadows, and I just walked out the field. Well, my boss kept on, and I walked away. And I was afraid to go home. So I carried right on through to Lowestoft, distance of about 12 miles, and I got a job. Nothing at all with me, just as I stood. So Bob's career as a fisherman came about as a reaction against the kind of injustice he'd received as a farm worker. And a career move like that wasn't uncommon, certainly in the area all the time. And life on board ship go the worker, quite a small world, which if he was lucky would be quite sort of comradely, quite, and the presence of a good skipper, as Bob attested to, would create a nice family atmosphere. And I'm going to carry on reading Bob's account now. He says, I was walking along the quay at Lowestoft and there was various offices because, these firms had boats in those days. And I saw this notice in the window, boy wanted. And I went in and the old boy behind the desk said, what do you want? I said, I'd come after this job in the window. And he looked across to a little man sitting on his seat and he says, will you take him? And he stood up. This was the shortest little man I think I ever saw. And he looked up at me and he says, yes, if he promised he won't knock me about. Comical old chap he was, but he was a real nice man because when we come in from sea, he always used to take me home and give me a cup of tea or something to eat. He was skipper, his brother-in-law was mate, and then there was a third hand, deckhand, and I was the boy. There was 5 of us on the boat. I've seen the trawlers when we've had the sails up and it's been snowing and freezing and couldn't get your sails down. Everything was frozen, but otherwise, when it was nice weather, it was nice to be on them. My actual job was to haul with the men. I was on this sailing trawler about a year, and then I went on to steam drifters, starting as a stoker. So Bob started singing in this work situation at sea, which obviously was common to do. And this is where he learnt many songs. And he talks about there's a particular pub in Grimsby that they used to go to where they had French, Belgians, Dutch, and he says that he just kind of picked the songs up. But in particular, there was a phrase in the book that I wanted to lead you to, which took me to this song. And he said, we used to sing when we were hauling very often, but in the days before my time, they used to have the old capstans and they used to put pieces of wood through that block there and had these 4 men on that side and 4 on this. And you were going around all the time hauling the nets. That's where some of the old songs come from, you see. That's before my time I'm talking about. In my time, we'd sing anything that come to mind, I suppose. I forget exactly what. Although the pretty cabin boy comes into it. I learned that in Grimsby, and that's just a nice walking round song. So I guess, Bob, I've not heard that phrase before, a walking round song, but it makes sense to assume that it's a capstan shanty. And I obviously I didn't do it as a capstan shanty. I would not want to be considerably faster and a bit more rambunctious. But anyway, that was the account of old Bob Hart. So I think I'm going to let Paul talk now because I've talked for a long time.
Yes, you have, boy, and but that's all right. I don't think anybody needs to apologise for being a bibliophile. Very fine thing to be, indeed. Also, actually, you mentioned the Blacksall ship. For those that don't know, that may not be local to us or just not familiar with the local folk scene, the Blacksall ship is a real stronghold of the local circuit, hosting many fine folk musicians and singers, including a shanty or 2 amongst them. A very popular haunt for the shanty singers of old. And
I was just going to say pre-COVID, but actually even during or since COVID, it is certainly considered one of the oldest traditional singing pubs in the country, and they continue to have traditional music there regularly, including our friends John and Lynn Ward.
Indeed. Funny enough, though, it's nowhere near the coast, the Blacksall ship. So no. You'd have to push it a very long way to get it into to get its bottom wet. But we did speak to some people at the Suffolk Record Office, and they believed that perhaps originally it was called the Blacksall sheep. And much like our Suffolk words and phrases that have been doctored along the way, it was kind of lazily pronounced as the Blacksall ship until it eventually became the Blacksall ship. Now,
also, I guess we should say it was very close to, or close enough to Snape, where the river ended, and a lot of trade was taken along that river. So it was possibly considered that it was taken then further inland to process before it was moved elsewhere to the country. So I guess it could have been, that might have been the ship reference if it wasn't sheep.
Marion Bouchette gives 3 claps for bibliophiles. Thank you very much, Marion. And Bill Lyman says, well, he says the weight is on the captain's boat.
Oh, I'm not sure I know quite what he means by that.
No, but that sounds like a good old-fashioned phrase. The weight is on the captain's boat.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that. And I'm just going to head back a little bit because Carl Langley, he says, I'm in Lowestoft. Hi, and I'm going to say hi to Carl Langley. I think I've seen him comment before, and thank you very much, Carl, for getting in touch. Now, as we mentioned, Lowestoft is where we house the Rogue Shanty Chorus for our regular sessions and performances. That's where we were last Tuesday. and where we'll be this coming Tuesday. But if you're not able to make it, if perhaps you're shielding, or perhaps you're unable to book in, or you're just not one of our regular rogues, you've been joining us here on these live stream episodes, you'll still be able to join us, because we'll be broadcasting live for our second virtually backstage episode. So please do join us in the same place on Facebook if you would like to, even though in person we will be in the Seagull Theatre in Pakefield of Lowestoft. We'll also be there on another occasion. Stephen and I will be there to perform our show called Songs of Remembrance. That's Seagull on the Sunday the 8th of November. It's a matinee of 2:30 p.m. And like I said, the Seagull Theatre in Lowestoft, where we house our Rogue Shanty Chorus, but it is also a theatre. And it will be housing our performance of Songs of Remembrance for Sunday the 8th of November. If you're around and you'd like to join us, tickets are £8 and £10. We'd be delighted to see you in the audience.
Yeah, and I guess we should labour the point that is a limited capacity, COVID safe production, with various control measures in place to make sure that people are not only kept safe but encouraged to feel safe to come along, because we're going to support the arts.
Yes. Now, Bill Lyman gets back in touch. He says it's a net hauling shanty. Well, we'll have to look out for that. The waiters on the captain's boat. That's not one I'm familiar with, but sounds like a good one.
Yeah,
So
unless he's disputing what Bob Hart was saying about it being a captain shanty. Maybe the way I sang it was possibly as a very loose net hauling shanty. I mean, you wouldn't be in a rush if you were to do it at the speed I did, but certainly Bob Hart says it's a walking around song sung at the capstan. Although, as you know, many of the shanties can be several things, including short drag or long haul, and the difference being only the amount of verses you have often.
Yeah. Stephen, I've been featuring quite a few Scottish songs. I started off with the Cornish song, The King of Prussia, but then I moved straight to the Skyboat song, and since then, well, what have I done really? I've got If I Were a Blackbird coming up, which is a Scottish song, and also Kishmal's Galley, which is possibly the oldest song in our repertoire, and of course that is also Scottish.
Oh, no, it could be. I was going to say Hall the Bowling, which
yeah.
But no, I think you're probably right.
I'll give you that. Hall on the Bowling is almost definitely our oldest shanty.
Yeah. Okay, we can agree on that, can't we?
We can agree to agree. But yeah, Kishmal's Galley, if you'd like to sing along. I'm going to sing this at quite a lick, because otherwise I'm going to have an unweighted balance of slower songs and faster songs. Now, Kishmal's Galley, it's in our repertoire, and our rogues will know it as number 18. But like I said, I'm going to do it a little bit faster than normal, so see if you can keep up. High from the Benahi on a day of days, see what I gazed, watching Kishmal's galley sailing. Ahi, oh, valley, oh. Homeward she bravely battles 'gainst the hurtling waves. No hoop, no yards, anchor, cable, nor tackle has she. Ahi, oh, valley, oh. Now, 'gainst wind and tide, they've brought her to 'neath Kishmal's walls, Kishmal's castle, our ancient glory. Ahi, oh, valley, oh. Here's wine and feast for heroes, and harping too, sweet harping too, watching Kishmal's galley sailing. oh, valley, oh, oh, valley, oh.
Lovely, very nice. Kishmol's Galley and Paul's rendition of it. Let's do a couple of comments, shall we? Carly firstly says, love this song. Yeah, me too, Carly. Wendy Duncan says, would love to see Remembrance concert. Is there any way you could stream it and sell tickets like you did for the one in the summer? Pretty please, lol. Do you know what, Wendy? We'd love to, but we think we have to kind of set that up at the same time to ensure that we've got space for the cameras not to obscure the audience. So I think on this occasion, can't do it. But we'll get in touch, Wendy, and let you know if we've got any other streams coming up, any performance streams coming up. Sally says Blackbird, lovely, looking forward to that. Wonderful. Yeah, me too. So I'm going to do a song now, and where I had some notes in this book here. Or was it some chords?
It can be notes. You can have a few notes and they make a chord, or they tend to. While you're doing that, I'm going to mention another shout out to our wonderful funders, the People's Health Trust. They fund us through the Active Communities Programme, enabling us to work with people of all ages from 2 to 90, and from people that have very little experience but want more experience with music, and to people that are quite accomplished musicians. We've worked with all sorts of people, and we hope to continue doing so. They've been funding us for about a year on this particular project, to celebrate the cultural musical heritage of the East Coast and Waveney, and we thank them very much for continuing their funding through the lockdown and through the socially distanced epidemic period that's enabled us to now be on episode number 30 of these live stream Shanty Sessions.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you very much. And as importantly, thank you very much to everybody who tunes in, because if there are only just one or two people tuning in, it would make it feel like a very lonely experience. So thank you very much, not just for tuning in, but also for catching it again when you can't be with us at the time we're live streaming. And it certainly helps us to know that you enjoy finding out about Shanties and our enjoyment of them. Anyway, look, tomorrow is my maths is not very good, but tomorrow is the anniversary of the death of Horatio Lord Nelson, and so I'm going to do a song about Nelson, or certainly about the victory. He was killed at the Battle of Trafalgar Bay, and we do a song called "A Drop of Nelson's Blood," but I felt that might be a bit too of an obvious one, so I'm going to do a song called "On Board the Victory," or just the Victory. You find it in the index as 2278, Round Folk Index 2278. And this actually concentrates not so much on Nelson. I mean, I guess you could assume it was Nelson, but certainly one of the sweethearts that was left behind by the men that were killed. On Board the Victory, or Victory. I am a youthful lady, my troubles they are grey. My tongue is scarcely able my grievance to relate. Since I have lost my true love that was ever dear to me, he's gone to plough the ocean on board the Victory. And many a pleasant evening my love and I did meet. He clasped me round my slender waist and gave me kisses sweet. I gave to him my hand and heart, and he vowed he'd marry me. But I did not know that my love would join the Victory. My parents could not endure my love because he was poor. Therefore he never did presume to come within the door. But had he been some noble lord or a man of high degree, they'd ne'er have sent the lad I love on board the Victory. There was 13 on the press gang, they did my love surround, and 4 of that accursed gang went bleeding to the ground. My love was overpowered, though he fought most manfully. They dragged him through the dark streets towards the Victory. They dragged him through the dark streets towards the Victory. They dragged him through the dark streets towards the Victory.
Well, that's a lovely song, yeah, and well sung too. Thank you, Stephen. Well played.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
The Victory, or on board the Victory.
Yeah, we've got some comments. One from Sally Hardman. She says, Blackbird, lovely, looking forward to that. Carly says, love this song. Michelle Gallagher says, I'm looking forward to Blackbird too. But, you know, Sally Hardman says, I have to say, it was very weird singing to the computer a couple of weeks ago. Hats off to you two doing it for so many weeks. Well, we'd have to say, actually, we've probably gotten a bit used to it now, because there's a lot less heckling involved, a lot less answering back when you're singing to a screen. But no, it was lovely to sing to and with the Rogues last Tuesday, Sally, of which you were very instrumental in helping us to get off the ground. So thank you very much for all your assistance with that. But she's absolutely right. Sally did sing to the computer. She sang to me just a couple of weeks ago, a beautiful rendition of you could help me out at this point if you like. She sang a beautiful version of Farewell to Talworthy, and she also really got right behind the Scottish Fisher Lassie song, Yarmouth Key, I think it was called.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
I'm not helping you at all, am I?
No, not really. You're doing something else, and that's fine. But if anybody wants to hear Sally sing that again, just scroll back through the last couple of episodes. You'll find her on there. She did a wonderful job of it too.
Yeah.
I've got one song left to sing you, as I mentioned, and I think we've just about got time for it. It is If I Were a Blackbird. I'm going to mention a little bit of the notes that I have here on If I Were a Blackbird, if you wouldn't mind indulging me. Now, it's Roud indexed as number 387. It's also in the Ballad Index. Now, James Reeves printed If I Was a Blackbird in his 1960 book, The Everlasting Circle, giving the source as George Gardner, who collected it from Mrs. Maria Etheridge of Southampton in Hampshire. That was 1906. But Gardner noted only the tune and one verse, the chorus, from Mrs. Etheridge, and just the tune from Mr. Fulford. Instead, Reeves used a version that Henry Lee of Wiltchurch, Hampshire, sent to Gardner in 1906, following up Gardner's advertisement in the Hampshire Chronicle asking for more verses. Strange enough, Gardner then visited Lee and collected 9 other songs from him, but not this one, which he then noted with slightly different words and without the last verse from Miss Lee, probably Henry Lee's daughter. And now there's a wonderful version by May Bradley, and she called this song My Love. Before singing it, she liked to explain that she had heard a modern song like this, but she sings it in the old way. Some commentators have described If I Were a Blackbird as a song composed entirely of floating verses, although most collected sets seem to be quite similar. a fact that suggests broadside origins, although Rao doesn't list any. Certainly, May Bradley's version appears to be almost all floaters. The song does not appear to have been popular in America. They only have 3 examples out of a total 69, although several of the versions associated with it do turn up in any number of Appalachian songs, such as Pretty Sorrow or The Turtle Dove, The Wagoner's Lad, and Little Sparrow. Unlike other pieces, this song does not seem to have circulated much in England, though it is well known in the farm districts of the Scottish North East and along the country lanes of Northern Ireland, mostly made up of commonplaces from a variety of 19th century broadside pieces, all patched together. A verse from here, another from there, and If I Were a Blackbird sounds a little like this. If I were a blackbird, could whistle and sing, I'd follow the vessel my true love sails in, and on the top rigging there I'd build my nest, and lay my head on his lily-white breast. I am a poor girl, my fortune seems sad, 6 months have I courted a true sailor lad, and truly I loved him by night and by day, and now in his transport he sailed far away. If I was a blackbird, could whistle and sing, I'd follow the vessel my true love sails in, and on the top rigging there I'd build my nest, and lay my head on his lily-white breast. My love's tall and handsome in every degree. My parents despise him because he loves me, but let them despise him and say what they will while I've breath in my body. I'll love him still. If I was a blackbird, could whistle and sing, I'd follow the vessel my true love sails in, and on the top rigging there I'd build my nest, and lay my head on his lily-white breast. He promised he'd meet me at Bonnybrook Fair, with a bunch of blue ribbons to tie up my hair, and if he would meet me, I'd crown him with joy, and kiss those fond lips of my dear sailor boy. If I was a blackbird, could whistle and sing, I'd follow the vessel my true love sails in, and on the top rigging there I'd build my nest, and lay my head on his lily-white breast.
Very nice. Not as nice as Sally's, I'm sure, but there you go. Lovely
not
still.
As nice as Sally. We are very blessed with lots of fine voices in and amongst the Rogue Shanty chorus, and taking the lead on that song normally would be Sally and Rosemary and Michelle, with the rest of the chorus backing them behind, and they make a very nice job of it too. You might have noticed I altered the melody somewhat. That was to reflect the 3-part harmony that the ladies employ for that song.
Well, I think I've just got time to fit one more in, and then we'll do some wrapping up and word announcing and all that kind of jazz. I'm going to do one now. I don't get to do this very often because when we do it with our chorus, and we haven't done it with our chorus for a long, long while because of old Rona, but when I do it with the chorus, they complain if we do it too fast. And really, this is actually a Scottish Gaelic song, and it's sung as a strathspey or a version reel, which should actually be done considerably fast. My pronunciation of Scottish Gaelic is nowhere near as good as it should be to broadcasting to broadcast in a version, but I'm going to give it a go anyway, and at some kind of speed. But it's the song is known. The song is called Shalaf Coriowen, or just often known as Beowen, and it's a portabeel, which is Gaelic for tune from the mouth. And it's difficult to imagine what other kind of tune there might be, but unless it's an instrumental one. But they're short, fast, highly rhythmical songs that would often be danced to as well as sung along. And some people believe, I'm going to get someone comment on this because I always do when I say this word, whether it's in person or broadcast, but some people believe that this song was, or Portabills were developed when the playing of the bagpipes were banned following the Scottish Battle of Culloden, 1746. And anyway, so the lyrics for this, the English lyrics, roughly paraphrased, are: look at Hugh's coracle and 5 and 20 oars on her. Look at Hugh's coracle going past the Rua Ban. And the Rua Ban is the promontory which juts out onto Loch Scavaig on the southernmost tip of Shanties on the Isle of Eriskay, south of South Uist and North Uist. It's Hugh who will be the captain or skipper on it, going past the Rua Ban. But anyway, I'm going to give the Gaelic lyrics a go, and I'll see if I can do them fairly fast. Shalaf Corio and Escoe Graficatera, Shalaf Corio and the Shakatera Rua Van Bio and Bio and Bio and the Shakat Yo and Bio and the Shakatera Rua Van Shalaf Corio, Scoe Graficatera, Shalaf Corio and the Shakatera Rua Van Bio and Bio, Bio and the Skipper Bio and Bio and the Shakatera Rua Van. Just really fast, really rhythmic, really short. See if I can go a wee bit faster. Shalacorio and Escoe Graficatera, Shalacorio and the Shakatera Ruavan, Bio and Bio and Bio and the Skipper Bio and Bio and the Shakatera Ruavan. Quick. Okay, that was it. Just a chance really to sing it at the kind of speed that we would do. We actually fortunate enough to attend an actual Scottish performance of this with people of all ages really, but in particular some very impressively fast school children singing that faster than I even did and getting all their words in. So anyway, yeah. So Paul, what we got? He's muted, isn't he?
Muted myself by mistake. Sorry about that. It must have been before I had the chance to say what a Scottish feel we've had from this Shanties live sessions. But it's totally unintentional, of course.
Also very kind of
unintentional. Yeah,
we had a real female vibe today as well, from the perspective of the females in many of the songs. Not intentional. I mean, of course it was. That was the theme.
Yeah. Michelle Gallagher says, haven't had the pleasure of singing this with the Rogues
Really?
yet.
Well, we're going to remedy that, Michelle.
Does surprise me. Yeah. Bill Lyman says, Blackbird, get up, higher. Fair enough. Sude says, fantastic song, Blackbird, thanks. Thank you. And Sally Harmon says, now, lads, lovely version, well done. Well, that's kind as well. Charlie says, love it. That's what I would call a crimp, which is a Mighty Boosh reference. Of course, we'd need to know what Mighty Boosh was, I suppose.
Yeah. Shall I do this? Shall I do this?
How you heading, boy?
The wonderful Edward Moore put together this book, Suffolk Words and Phrases, as Paul's just brought up on screen, published originally 1823. And we, at random, choose a word out of there every week and ask you to guess what it is. We tell you can't cheat. And we tell you don't win anything. So it's a rubbish competition, but we deliberately choose a word that is maybe not in common parlance anymore. The reason Edward Moore put this book together was because he came back from service from India, and he was rather forlorn to realise that it seemed like many of the traditional East Anglian and Suffolk words were on the wane. And so he put them into a book so that hopefully they would continue to be used. And maybe through his efforts, they were continued to be used, because many words in this book are still fairly common in our native East Anglia and Suffolk, but we choose the ones which are not. And this week's, as Paul has been announcing throughout, is we're not quite sure how you say it, because he didn't manage to record a suggestion of how you would, but it's either threadigal or threadigal. And I'm going to tell you what it is, what it means. It means unsettled, but only as applied to weather. And I have never heard the word applied to anything else. This is Edward Moore talking now, not me. I lately heard this speech. The weather fair to look threadigal, and the clumps of the evening are coming on. I am not a sufficient linguist to trace this strangely sounding word to any probable source, and I never saw it or one like it, but I do have it on good authority that it is native to Suffolk. There you go. So it means unsettled, but only in terms of the weather. And I think we can certainly appreciate that just lately. Another theme that's running through today's session is the weather. We mentioned St. Luke's Day and St. Luke's Summer, or St. Luke's Little Summer, period of a few days up to 10 days or 2 weeks, where if you went to bed with a sprig of rosemary and a crooked sixpence, not only might you get a lover for the rest of the year, but you also might bestow upon Suffolk, the good people of Suffolk, fine weather for a couple of weeks. I don't think many people must have gone to bed with a sprig of rosemary and a crooked sixpence.
No, not for the last month at least. We've had a hell of a lot of rain.
A lot, yeah. So anyway, Paul made reference earlier on to a song that we wrote as a project with John and Lynn Ward of John Ward Music, and that was a song called it was a song called Orlando Whistlecraft. And we actually we've not got that song with us, but we have got another song that we wrote with John and Lynn, and this is called The Ballad of Margaret Catchpole. Margaret Catchpole had a fascinating and rather tragic story, and you can find out lots more about her through Suffolk record offices should you want to. But I guess we ought to just quickly mention what Orlando Whistlecraft's thing was, what his gig was. So Orlando Whistlecraft was a guy who was born in Thwaite, which is near Stowmarket. I guess that's about 30 minutes away from where we are roughly. And Orlando Whistlecraft, which is a strange name, but certainly was his real name, he turned out that people started to realize that he had a real knack for predicting the weather. And we're talking about predicting the weather from maybe like a couple of weeks from now. And unlike looking at your BBC weather app and then finding out it says there's a 10% chance of rain, and when you look out the window, it's absolutely chucking it down. Orlando was very reliable in his predictions, and so much so that he was encouraged to publish almanacs, and his almanacs were submitted into the Suffolk record offices as proof of the wonderful work this guy did. But we're not even going to play you the song about Orlando Whistlecraft. We're going to play you out to credits with a song that we wrote with John and Lynn Ward called The Ballad of Margaret Catchpole. And unless Paul's got anything else to add,
I might just add one last time, thanks to People's Health Trust for their funding, and anybody that can join us on the 8th of November at the Seagull Theatre, we'd love to see you there. If you're able to book yourself a slot, we'll see you for our virtually backstage actual Shanty session at the Seagull Theatre this coming Tuesday. If you're not able to join us in person, just join us here on our Facebook page and on the YouTube channel. And before that, on the Monday, you'll have the opportunity to join us on the Facebook pages and the YouTube channels for another Lowestoft history session with Ivan Bunn. He'll be talking to us once more about the aspects of Lowestoft's history.
Yeah, but I would underline that if you want to come along next Tuesday physically to our rehearsal, you have to book. Last time, all the seats that we were able to take with our limited capacity were used in full, so you have to book. You cannot just turn up. So we'll see you then, hopefully. But this is The Ballad of Margaret Catchpole by Paul, myself, John and Lynn Ward.
In Woodbridge I'm born, no wealth to my name. My tale is forlorn and it speaks to my shame. I served in a household of high degree, but my love for a sailor and his love for me saw me ending my days o'er the high rolling sea. Moving on, my time is as short as my journey is long. I'll be back in the arms of my lover by dawn, but tonight I'll be moving on. Tonight I'll be moving on. Persuaded by William to sail after dark, but a fight with John Barrier we could embark. Saw him shoot my admirer in blind jealousy. So my love for a sailor and his love for me put a price on his head and sealed my destiny. Moving on. My time is as short as my journey is long. I'll be back in the arms of my love by dawn. But tonight I'll be moving on. Tonight I'll be moving on. William sent word I'm to meet him at speed. To London I travel on this stolen steed. Many miles away, 70, but my love for a sailor still endures when I'm run down by the crown ere I saw him again. Moving on. My time is as short as my journey is long. I'll be back in the arms of my lover by dawn. But tonight I'll be moving on. Tonight I'll be moving on. Sentenced to 7, served 3 behind bars. I scaled down the high walls but didn't get far. Servitude beckoned in Botany Bay, where my love for a sailor ne'er ebbs away, while my thought turned to William through each working day. Moving on. My time is as short as my journey is long. I'll be back in the arms of my lover by dawn. But tonight I'll be moving on. My time is as short as my journey is long. I'll be back in the arms of my lover by dawn. But tonight I'll be moving on. Tonight I'll be moving on.